What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I'm going to be talking about the SPY, the Nasdaq, the QQQs, and Amazon. Break down the very big catalysts coming out for tomorrow, and also Amazon's earnings. Break down how this may affect the market right now. I'm going to break down: is this about to be a massive short squeeze where the market breaks to these crazy high levels, or is this a very big trap? Could this be a big bull trap to trick people into thinking that the market's going to keep going and we end up just getting rug pulled tomorrow and beyond? I'm going to talk about that in this video and once again talk about many different tickers. But before I say anything like that, before I get into any more details, I need to mention a couple of things real quick. Firstly, I'm not a financial planner. Make sure you take none of this as financial advice whatsoever. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire community as a whole. And the last things, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you're guaranteed up to 5 free stocks, each worth up to $2,000, and any could be a free Tesla share. The offer ends in just 3 days. Check it out before they run out. With that out of the way, let's get on with the video. All right, so SPY is up 2% at the time of recording this, which is very close to market close. And we're actually around 412.5 right now. The question is, what happened? Let me first talk about what I mentioned yesterday. I told you guys that we had a falling wedge that was forming, right? And I told you we would likely come up to test this upper resistance line right here. And I told you if we broke above this, or if we even opened above it, this thing could go flying up. But if we rejected right here, if it rejected, we would just continue to crash. Now, I wasn't sure what would happen because it would depend on not only big earnings that came out, but also the data that came out, right? We had initial jobless claims and the GDP numbers. Jobless claims were basically very close to expectations, if not a little lower, and the GDP report was actually very low, which is actually not good for us. It's telling us a recession is getting closer. The market liked that because the market is now seeing this as a sign that the Fed might pause and actually uh, slow down on the tightening of their financial conditions. And I think the market is now, they're not really truly pricing in a recession right now because earnings have been pretty good so far, at least on paper, because they're lowering these expectations. And that's part of why the market's pumping. But the question is, are we going to keep going or are we going to tank? And that's going to depend, my friends, heavily on the data from tomorrow and also Amazon. So for tomorrow, we have the PCE numbers coming out. That's super important. The Fed looks at all of this information when making their calculations and their next moves. Make sure you're ready for how this will move the market. It comes out 1 hour before the market opens. Core PCE is expected to be a little high because it was higher than expected on the CPI end. The expectation is about 4.6% for a core, and then for PCE alone, it's expected to be around 4.5%. We'll see if we get something like this. If it's too hot, that's going to be bad for the markets. Additionally, for Thursday, or just in about an hour or so from now, I have to record this a little early, guys. I'm so sorry I can't record this during Amazon's earnings, but I just want to note that we have Amazon's earnings in just a couple of hours today. The big reaction is going to come tomorrow. If Amazon kills it in every way, shape, or form possible, or the large majority of ways, it's going to fly. It's going to continue to soar, and the stock market is going to also love it. If Amazon misses, or they don't do as well, and there's a negative reaction for the share price, then we're likely going to see something pretty bad for the bulls, and we could get a rug pull. So I'm going to break down what I think is more likely, but I'm always open to anything, guys, because I'm really not a fortune teller. I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't know. I don't know how Amazon is going to do for earnings right now. I don't know what the PC data is going to tell us for tomorrow as well. So I don't know for sure what's going to happen, but I can tell you that we should be prepared for anything. And I'm going to tell you what's more likely to happen based off technicals and based off previous data. Now, max pain for tomorrow is around 407, but we have a lot of puts. 1.88, it's not as extreme as other days. The market makers might want to try to hold the markets up, and that's likely what they're going to try to do. But if we get data we don't like from PCE or Amazon does not do too well, even the market makers may not be able to hold us up as well when the bears take over. And we could still crash tomorrow. This could still be a big trap. And this would be a really good trap for the bulls because they're getting so many people very bullish. So now let's talk about the charts. What am I seeing? Like I said before, I'm always open to any possibilities on a given day, but we are quite overextended right now. Let me just start off with the extended hours. Even on the extended hours, there is technically a bearish divergence on SPY. We're crazy overbought. RSI is at 77. But even if we are overbought, we can always go higher during crazy situations. We're very overbought though. That's not a good sign for the bulls. Additionally, I just want to add that when you remove the extended hours, the same thing, another bearish divergence, right? We're still overbought. Compared to these levels when the RSI was around 63, 62.50, the RSI is at 64 almost. So the RSI is making this higher high, but the price is making a lower high. Additionally, check this out. Check this out, guys. When we broke out of this falling wedge, look at how we dropped, we bounced, made a lower low, but look at the RSI. It was at 24 during this first low right here, 24. Then the market makes a lower low, the price goes lower, the RSI hits 27. So the RSI went up, price went down. What does that mean? A divergence formed and we got a bounce, right? That's the first divergence. This was a bullish divergence that formed right here and we got a bullish move today. But now in real time, there's a bearish divergence forming, right? We haven't reached these highs. The RSI was back in the 40s when it was around like 413, 412, in the 40s and 30s. Now it's at 64. So that's telling me, all right, we either pump a little more and then we tank, or we could see some more downside. However, I'm not solely going to look at technicals because what also matters is going to be the numbers, how Amazon does. And I don't really know, so I'm always open to anything. I just want to note that the odds favor downside in my opinion. Now, let's just say this divergence does not matter right now. It continues to develop maybe, or we just keep pushing. Let's just say that happens tomorrow. Let's just say Amazon does well. What's going to happen? What's going to happen if PCE, the numbers are good? SPY is going to fly to 414, then maybe get closer to 418 if we get good news tomorrow. If the news leads to a sell-off and this bearish divergence develops and plays out, then you're going to be watching 411. If that fails, 409. If that fails, 407 to 406.5 could come. If we break below that, I mean, we could even fill the gap down here to 404. So we're going to make a big move up or a big move down tomorrow. It could be either direction. Be prepared for that. But I think personally, from a technical standpoint, we look very overextended and the odds do favor a cool off, a bit of a rug pull tomorrow, maybe a pullback. So I do think the odds favor downside, but I'm always open to anything, guys. I just want to note that. For Tesla, we have a bearish divergence again. The price is overbought. Not overbought, but it's actually a lot higher in the RSI and also the MACD, despite the fact that we're actually making a lower high right now on Tesla. So that's telling me that this thing could slow down, but it once again depends on Amazon. If excuse me, if Amazon and the PC data are good, or they combined, they lead to a bullish reaction, Tesla's going to fly to 163. If it breaks down 165 to 166 becomes possible. If we get a bad reaction and the market gets rug pulled, Tesla's going to come down to 155, if not even lower than that. And if it breaks below the low we made at 152, it's going to crash to the 140s. Both of them are possible, of course, but you always have to be prepared for anything. In my opinion, though, I think the odds favor us cooling off a little bit, maybe seeing Tesla hit 155. That's just my guess based off these technical indicators. They can't be perfect because who knows what Amazon's going to bring, but that's just what I want to go with. I just want to share that with you. For Coinbase, it's testing 54, looking relatively weak. I'm not seeing any divergences or anything like that. we actually have a bullish divergence that was forming. We haven't really gotten the breakout yet. If we're bullish, thanks to Amazon, 58 could come. If we're bearish, thanks to Amazon and PCE, 50 is going to come. It's going to crash more. Either one are possible. The odds favor it coming down a little bit, in my opinion, but I'm always open to anything just in case. Another reason why I'm talking about potential or possible downside is because we have an inverse head and shoulder formation, or it's very similar to that forming on the dollar index. If we get a bounce and this thing starts to break and get closer to 102, that once again could be bearish for the stock market. The dollar is holding up so far, so be careful with that. For NEO, if we're bullish tomorrow, expect it to push up and fill this gap. 8.3 to 8.2 could come. If we're bearish, it's going to retest 7.6 and even break lower, a little lower to maybe 7.5. What do I think is going to happen? I already told you guys I'm favoring the downside, but I'm always open to anything because I could be wrong about that. Technicals may not always be correct, of course. But like I said before, I think the odds favor us cooling off. Now, let me talk about Amazon. I know I've been talking about Amazon, but I forgot to mention a couple of things. Another reason why I'm very apprehensive is because, excuse me, uh, Microsoft and Meta, they basically dumped before earnings. They were tanking. Earnings comes out, good earnings came, and then they rallied. Amazon is pumping hard before earnings, and that makes me suspicious. Could this be a buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event? Maybe it is. If it is, Amazon could tank. If not, I mean, I'm always open to it, continuing to go up. But we do have two gaps below, and I am kind of suspicious of this. We also had, I think we had a bearish divergence developing, and we actually have it. I'm sorry, we still have a bearish divergence because the price made a higher low. The RSI is making a lower low. So the odds from a technical standpoint look bearish, but technicals are not everything, of course. If Amazon is like super bullish, I could see 116 to 120. If Amazon is very bearish after earnings, it's going to crash to maybe close to like 100. What do I think is going to happen? I don't know. My best prediction would be us coming down to fill these gaps. But once again, guys, I'm always open to anything depending on the data. Another thing that's a big red flag is the VIX. Because the VIX bounced off 16.74, very close to where we are right now. We're very close to support on the VIX. We technically have, let me just double check this. Is this a bullish or bearish divergence? No, I'm not really seeing it. Yeah, I'm not really seeing the bullish divergence just yet. I'm not seeing it. But I do want to note that the VIX is at an extreme level. If we close below 10% down, I'm sorry, I don't know if I said that right. Like, if we're down more than 10%, that's the way I should say it. If we're down like 10% or around 10% or lower, the odds greatly favor the VIX getting a nice bounce, either on Friday or Monday, which means the stock market, the S&P 500, will likely have a down day either tomorrow or Monday. That's what the VIX is telling us. If we end up closing or coming very low, it's about 10% to the downside. We're very close. We're at 9.8%, getting closer and closer. If that's the case, make sure you guys are prepared. But even if we close like down 9%, that's still extreme for the VIX. It needs to bounce. It's very likely it will. Nvidia is up to 2.71. If it's bullish, thanks to Amazon, it's going to fly to 274, maybe even higher than that. If we're bearish, it's going to come down to 266 or lower. It's actually going to come down to fill this gap. Now, I'm always open to anything, of course. I'm always open to anything because of how I can't predict what's going to happen tomorrow perfectly, or even Amazon's earnings. But I am leaning more bearish. I think it's a little more likely we're going to cool off to retest 266, if not fill the gap tomorrow. Another thing that's a red flag is the QQQ is at resistance. If Amazon kills it, the QQQ is going to fly for 324.5. If Amazon does not do as well as we expect, this thing could come tanking down. We have this gap down to 312. It could slowly approach that gap. All right, so I'm always open to anything, but I do think that odds favor downside. We have a bearish divergence right over here on the QQQ. I say that because We're technically making a lower high. We haven't actually broken the 321.8 area. And the RSI is very overbaked. We're in very oversold territory, very close to it. Odds favorite downside for the QQQ. The SQQQ has a potential, I think I saw a bullish divergence developing. I think I still see it. So yeah, I am seeing a potential bullish divergence that could be forming. It just needs more confirmation. Basically, the RSI is making this crazy low, even though this is not the lowest we saw this at. This is not the lowest price I've seen it at. So this is technically like a divergence. We could see this bounce, which could be bearish for the market or the QQQ. Either on, I would say either on Friday or Monday, most likely. Meta is very overbought. I mean, this thing is just to the moon right now. It's up 14%, which is crazy. It should try to base and slow down a little bit. But if Amazon kills it, it's just going to keep going for that. It could get closer to 250. If Amazon does not do as well, it's going to likely come all the way down to like get closer to about 235 to 230 flat. We'll see what Amazon brings for it, but I just want to know it's very overbought. Finally, the 10-year Treasury yield. This is continuing to pump, which tends to be bearish for the stock market typically. If it keeps going in this inverse head and shoulders like pattern, and it comes up to fill this gap, that could be another bearish signal because we did have a bullish divergence that formed here. We'll see how it goes. All right, guys. So what am I seeing for the markets? Anything can happen, guys. Anything can happen. I'm not saying anything with 100% certainty. I'm always open to any possibility thanks to Amazon and the PC report and other pieces of data. We also have Intel reporting earnings, but the bigger one is going to be Amazon. Finally, once again, for the last time, we could be bullish if we keep going, if Amazon does well and the data is not too bad. And the reason why Amazon could do well is because of low expectations. If Amazon misses anyways and surprises like next to everyone or the majority of investors, we're going to crash tomorrow. All right, so make sure you're ready for this. This could be a big bull trap or it could be a giant short squeeze. Could be either one of them. We just don't know yet. And my best assessment, considering that for the last 7 weeks, if we're bullish on Thursdays, we tend to be red on Fridays. And if we're, once again, bearish on Thursdays, we tend to be green on Fridays. That pattern has continued for a long time. Seeing how overbought SPY is and the bearish divergence forming, excuse me, sorry guys, and also the VIX being so oversold, and considering the fact that Meta and Microsoft dumped before earnings and they pumped after earnings came out, which were better, and Amazon is pumping right before earnings. It's kind of like a, buy the rumor, sell the news kind of event. These things are now pointing the direction that this could be a trap. And I'm always open to anything. I want to be as clear as possible, but I am leaning a little bit more bearish for tomorrow. I'm thinking this could be a big trap and they might try to not squeeze, but kind of annihilate as many people as possible. And remember, max pain's at 407 for SPY, so that would be a very interesting trap if they do try to trick so many people and they rug pull us. That would be insane. This market could be crazy as hell. It could be something most people would not expect. All right, guys, so thank you all so much for listening. I hope I was as clear as possible. And once again, my prediction, which could be wrong since I'm not really a genie or a fortune teller, but my prediction is downside for tomorrow. If not tomorrow, then for Monday, but I'm leaning more for tomorrow. Okay, guys? Thank you for listening. Have an absolutely incredible rest of the day. I apologize for not being able to record this video during Amazon's earnings report. I'm going to be kind of busy during then. But until I see you guys again, I just want to note that I have some merch for you guys if you're interested in buying anything. It's around the comment section. And also, if you look at the Moomoo link down below in the description, you could get up to 5 to 15 free stocks depending on how much money you deposit. All right? So it's your choice. Please check everything out. The market to the moon as the long term is very bright. And peace out.